Kendal Smith, a member of USU's All-Century team, is one of the elite receivers in Aggie football history. He was a third-team All-American and the PCAA Offensive Player of the Year as a senior. That year, he tied an NCAA record by catching a touchdown pass in 9 straight games and was also 8th in the nation in all-purpose yards. Smith still holds Aggie records in receiving yards, touchdown catches, and punt returns. Kendal played in the Blue-Gray and East-West All-Star games and spent 2 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL.
When I got the call, I was actually in union negotiations with my current employer, and it was more of a, I guess you could say it was a shock. And then I kind of told my colleagues that what had happened, and they were, of course, proud and all that stuff. And so we kind of discussed it a little bit, and now here it is. A bunch of different choices. There were some bigger schools, smaller schools, and then some in between. And I remember saying to myself, I'm going to go to the first school that I get a letter from, or whoever recruits me first, and that happened to be Utah State. And when I made that decision, it was probably the best decision I ever made. When Chuck Shelton first arrived here, it was change for everybody. And basically you're not sure, where you stand and what's going to happen, who's going to be your coach. And there was about a 2-month period where we didn't have, any coaches, anything. We were all just wondering who was going to be that next coach. And looking back on it, he was probably the right coach at the right time. He brought in Brian Billick, our offensive coordinator, and that's where, basically that was kind of the start of my career and what I learned through my career out here. When Brent showed up, it meant stability. It was prior to that, we had multiple quarterbacks, and when Brent showed up, it was like you said, he was the man. It was stability, and coincidentally, you're correct. Our numbers did go up. I think we were in tops in the nation during those years. I think my junior and senior year, we probably had a top 10 offense, and Brent was a huge part of that. When you talk about kick returning and punt returning, it was just another opportunity to get the balls in your hand. So it was fun for me. I think I did more punt returning than kick returning, but it was all enjoyable. It was all fun. I remember Coach Fiore. He was our special teams coach, and he was just amazing on punt returns and stuff, and so I love that aspect of it. The most memorable game that I played in was against the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, and I think we were down 30-6 at halftime, and we kind of went in the locker room, and I don't remember really what was said, but we ended up winning that game 41-36. And so it was just a kind of a comeback game, and you can kind of feel it in the second half, and everybody kind of, getting that energy. And it was, for me, that was probably the most memorable and one of our best wins here. The 5 years that I spent here were, and I keep talking about, coming up here as, an 18-year-old kid, and that's what I was. I think everything went perfect for me up here. Redshirting and the time that I had to learn before I started playing. The players that I learned from, like Derek McPherson and Paul Jones and Mickey Bell, all those guys. And so I just kind of watched them and how they went and did things, and I tried to do those things. I think that redshirt year was tough, but like I said, I had to find a way to stay competitive, and that was through practice and working hard and all those types of things. And I think where my career started for me was probably halfway during my freshman year. I think it was a game against Fresno State, and it was here at the stadium, and I think I had like 4 catches for like 140 yards. And so that was kind of my, I guess you can call it, if you want to call it a breakout, game. That's kind of where my career started, and it let me know that, that I could play here. The whole college, atmosphere, and dealing with, playing and going to school, and it's tough when you're younger, but then you learn how to figure it out and deal with it as you go on.